representative of the group. Congratulations on a great career. Thank you very much. A great career. I was sad to hear it in one way, and another way I said, boy, what a good job. So
Thank you very much.
I know what you guys
16
doing.
years.
It's a long time over there. I've known you a long time with that company. I've done deals with that company and you were there, right? A lot of good friends like Dale Fry and John Myers. Yeah, good time at GE. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here and for giving us a chance to see some of the really exciting new technology that you pioneered that will help improve so many millions of lives. I want to thank my Office of Science and Technology, and this has been a great office. They have done such incredible work for organizing today's event and for bringing these wonderful business leaders, and they are at the top, together to talk about the importance of emerging technologies. I want to thank Secretary Ross for joining us today. Wilbur, thank you very much. And we just got back from Iowa last night, a big speech in Iowa that was an amazing group of people. Those people were excited. I guess most people saw it, but they were excited. Wilbur's done a fantastic job, and I want to thank you very much for it, Wilbur. Everybody understands it. Wilbur, as Jeff, as you know, Wilbur is known as just Wilbur on Wall Street. They don't even call him Wilbur Ross. They just say, oh, Wilbur's involved, right? He's done a great job. Thank you. And Mr. Vice President, thank you very much for being here. We've had some busy schedules, and we have a thing called healthcare that you may hear is percolating on the outside as we discuss. And I think it's going to come out. Obamacare is a disaster. It's dead, totally dead. And we're putting in a plan today that's going to be negotiated. We'd love to have some Democrat support, but they're obstructionists. They'll never support. We won't get one, no matter how good it is. But we will hopefully get something done, and it'll be something with heart and very meaningful. And Steve, it's great to have you here, by the way. Really good. You've done a great job. I always say you got a hell of a lot of money for that sale. I don't think you've been given enough. I mean, I don't think you were ever given enough credit for the deal you did for your shareholders. What a deal that was. Too many years of excessive government regulation. We have had regulation that's been so bad, so out of line, that it's really hurt our country. And as you see, on a daily basis, we're getting rid of regulation. In fact, Dodd-Frank is now being cut, and cut very substantially. We'll have tremendous safeguards, but we're going to have banks that are going to be able to loan money to people so they can open businesses and do what they used to be able to do in this country. My administration has been laser focused on removing the government barriers to job growth and prosperity. We formed a deregulation task force inside every agency to find and eliminate wasteful, intrusive, and job-killing regulations, of which we've had many. We want our innovators to dream big, like the folks around me and surrounding me in this room. And we want them to create new companies and to create lots of jobs. Your industry has been incredible. Your representation of your companies, this is the reason you're here, has been something that has created so many millions of new American jobs, and probably jobs in many other countries also. But we're interested right now in America first. We're on the verge of new technological revolutions that could improve virtually every aspect of our lives, create vast new wealth for American workers and families, and open up bold new frontiers in science, medicine, and communication. Today's conversation will move America one step closer to that bright future that we're all talking about and all longing for in your world. I would love to hear about the discussions you've had this morning with our team, the White House, and get your thoughts on ways government can help unleash the next generation of technological breakthroughs that will transform our lives and transform our country and make us number one in this field. This is a very, very competitive field. You see what's going on in China and so many other countries. And we want to remain number one. We want to go to number one in certain areas where we're not number one. And we're going to give you the competitive advantage that you need. So thank you all very much for being here. On behalf of myself and my great Vice President. It's been a meeting that we actually both look very much forward to attending. And maybe if I could, I'm going to ask the group, and for the media, they can stay and see some of the folks, just to your company name and yourself, and maybe a very, very brief remark, because we have a lot of people. And we'll start maybe from my left. Diane?
Good morning. Mr. President, can you hear me? Mr. President, Mr. Vice President, Secretary Ross, Ivanka, Jared, everyone here, Diane Gibbons from Trumbull and Mand. We fly drones in challenging austere environments in the energy sector, primarily for oil and gas and environmental initiatives. Today I was part of the Unmanned Aircraft Systems talk, and I'm very much a proponent of supporting STEM, women, and veterans towards innovation and job creation.
Thank you, Diane.
Good morning, and thank you, Mr. President, for the privilege to be here, and Vice President, all the distinguished members of the Cabinet. I represent Honeywell, and we play in many different segments, including aerospace, automobiles, homes, buildings, oil and gas, and it's a pleasure to be here to talk about a very important opportunity for U.S. competitiveness, that being IoT. Thank you.
By the way, Honeywell, great company. That is a great company. And so is yours, by the way.
No, thank you. Good morning. My name is Aman Verji. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of 500 Startups. We've invested in over 1,800 companies, making us the most active venture capital firm in the world. We're a venture capital firm and accelerator headquartered in Silicon Valley with about 150 employees all over the world now.
Jennifer Teagan. I'm with Cayuga Venture Fund, which is a micro VC in upstate New York. I work in underserved capital regions of the United States that need desperately more capital to support the entrepreneurs and the innovative ideas that are coming out of places that are outside of New York City, Silicon Valley, and Boston. And we really appreciate the opportunity, or I really appreciate the opportunity to have my voice heard here today to talk about those things. And just want to encourage the administration that anything that you do for venture capital will pay off huge dividends, because we are the net new job creators in this country and have been for more than 3 decades.
Good.
All net new job growth created in the United States is because of investment by venture capital funds.
Good, thank you, and great job you've done.
Good morning, Mr. President and Mr. Vice President. My name is George Matthew. I'm CEO of Kespri. Kespri is an industrial drone manufacturer, drones made in the United States. Looking forward to spending some time with you showing an example of how industrial work is more easily accomplished with the use of a drone. And it's really changing how the innovative aspect of construction, engineering, and the industrial markets continue to evolve.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. President and Mr. Vice President, members of your staff. John Stratton from Verizon, and just very well-timed session here today. We are at the dawn of an age of a technological revolution, as you said, that will change the world. And with your focus on U.S. job creation and U.S. leadership in these industries, we think this is a great time for public-private partnership in this space.
And John, how are you getting along with AT&T over here?
We do okay.
Getting along pretty good.
Fiercely.
What do you think, Randall? I don't know. Thank you very much. Thanks, John.
Hello, Mr. President, Mr. Vice President. Thank you for having us here today. My name is Nick F. Stratus. I'm with Epic Ventures, a Salt Lake City-based venture capital firm. We're known for companies like Ancestry.com. If you've got your DNA tested, you probably worked with Ancestry.com, and for Instructure, which is a learning management system software developer. They make the Canvas learning management software. These are companies that have come out of places like Salt Lake City, and we invest in underserved startup ecosystems throughout the United States, including places like Albuquerque, Boise, Phoenix, Portland, and that's what we're here to represent. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Tim Junio. I'm the CEO of Cadium. We index everything connected to the public internet, Silicon Valley tech company. So we're doing kind of what Google does for web pages for the Internet of Things. So never better time to start a company in America. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Glad to be here.
Thank you very much.
Mr. President, great to be here. I think the subject of the industrial internet is a great topic. It's what brings companies like Tim's and big companies like GE together, big technology and 5G that Randall has, so great discussion. On a slightly different topic, we closed the locomotive deal in Egypt last weekend. Thanks to you and your team for your help.
I think we helped.
There.
I think we helped.
A big export, $600 million of exports from the U.S., so thanks for that as well.
You had some competition from other countries,
Germany.
and I do think, yeah, Germany, isn't that nice? We did a good job.
Yeah.
It's very good. What was the number we're talking about?
$600 million.
600 million,
Yeah.
okay, that's great. Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. President. I'm a general partner with Moore David Out Ventures. We're an early stage venture capital firm, and we look forward to playing our role in helping drive jobs in the United States, specifically through IoT and new industrial technologies.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. President, Mr. Vice President. I'm Barry Eggers, founding partner with Lightspeed Venture Partners. We're a large and very active early-stage venture capital firm, and we have invested in over 1,000 entrepreneurs and created tens of thousands of jobs for Americans.
Very large. Right, Wilbur? Very large. He is very large. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
I'm Steve Case, entrepreneur, started America Online a few miles from here 32 years ago when only 3% of people were online. They're only online 1 hour a week, so we've come a lot of progress. And then about a decade ago, after that merger you referenced, I moved on and started the venture capital fund Revolution a few blocks from here, but I actually spent most of my time on the road. We call the Rise the Rest, celebrating regions and trying to get more capital flowing to more entrepreneurs in more places. We looked at the data, and all the states you want, over 30 states, if you added all of them up, last year they only got 15% of venture capital. So when people feel like they've been left out and left behind, they have been left out and left behind. We need to get more investors focusing on the entrepreneurs in Ohio and Pennsylvania. It's great you're in Iowa,
That's right.
Indiana, other places, to make sure we level the playing field so everybody everywhere really does have a shot at the American dream and feels part of the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. And you know, Steve really was early, I will tell you. He was right at the beginning. So congratulations. Yes.
Mr. President, Mr. Vice President, thank you very much for the invitation. It's an honor to be here in the White House. My name is Ben Marcus. I'm the CEO of AirMap. We're an airspace management provider for drones. Our objective is to help make drones a part of everyday life, to help the drone industry scale by providing a safe and efficient operating environment for them.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Jan Garfinkel from Arboretum Ventures, which is a healthcare venture fund located in Ann Arbor, Michigan, that I founded 14 years ago. It was really founded on the premise that through innovation, I believed we could lower the cost of healthcare and still provide great clinical care. So we are now on our fourth fund. We've invested in over 40 companies. Half of them are in the Midwest, primarily the upper Midwest, and the other half are on the coast. We've treated over 3.5 million patients. We've created more than 4,000 jobs in those states that we're in, and we've returned about $2 billion in enterprise value to our investors.
So you must be on pins and needles waiting to see what's coming out just about now, right?
I
On
heard at
healthcare.
9:30 it
I mean,
released.
you
I don't
may
know
have
if
to-
that's true.
She
I've
may
been in a
actually leave
meeting.
this meeting. I think she's going to leave this meeting.
No, this is more important right now.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. President, Mr. Vice President. I'm Nelson Griggs. I represent NASDAQ, and we are thrilled to be here today. It's well known 90% of plus jobs are created once companies do go public, so having a robust capital markets, not only for the largest companies in the world, but for small caps is incredibly important to us, and it was great to be here today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Well, Mr. President, I'm Glenn Post. I'm CEO of CenturyLink, and we are one of the largest enterprise networking companies in the nation. We are focused on improving the lives of people and improving companies by connecting them really to the power of the digital world in this nation and really globally. I just want to express my appreciation for your efforts to create an environment in which we can see that's favorable to economic growth, less regulation, potential of lower taxes. Your efforts are clearly seen, and I appreciate that.
Well, thank you very much. We just had come out a poll on enthusiasm. It's the greatest enthusiasm in the history of this poll, which I think is 28 years old. Business enthusiasm in terms of manufacturers and general business. So I appreciate you saying that. And we're doing well. Stock markets hit new records. Never like to talk about that too much because you don't know what's going to happen as you leave. but we have hit new records and created almost $4 trillion in value. That's a lot since Election Day, so that's quite a statement. Let's keep it going that way, right? But I appreciate it. You've done a great job, by the way. Yes, sir.
Mr. President, Mike Sievert from T-Mobile. Thank you for including us. This meeting comes at an important time because we're on the precipice of moving to 5G and bringing about the Internet of Things. And the position that the government takes is going to determine whether or not America continues to lead in technology at this time of transition. So the meeting comes at an important time, and thank you for the administration's open-mindedness to the regulatory environment that allow investment to flow at historic levels.
And say hello to my very good friend.
Absolutely.
You know that. Thank you.
Hello, Mr. President, Mr. Vice President, many of my fellow colleagues and friends around the table. My name is Michael Chasen. I am the president of Precision Hawk. We are a drone company as well. We provide advanced drone technology and sensors to many farmers in the agriculture space, like those in Iowa that you recently just visited, as well as other industries, including construction, energy, and insurance. And it is an incredible booming industry. There's a number of drone companies sitting around the table. But the one thing that I do want to raise is this is actually the one industry where we actually need a little bit more regulation, because the default is actually limiting what drone technology can do, and we need the FAA and the other regulatory bodies have a little bit more power to regulate opening up those opportunities so we can stay competitive with other countries. Okay. So it's one of the few areas we'd like to see a little more regulation to actually open up opportunity. Okay. Prior to Precision Hawk, I was the co-founder and CEO of Blackboard, a large education company. So also something I'm incredibly passionate about. And actually, several investors in my previous ventures are also here around the table. I think you've assembled an incredible group of people. And I really hope that the voices are heard, because I do believe that excitement today is more than it's been in quite some time about the economic opportunity here in America, and I want to see that momentum continue. So congratulations on the great job you've been doing, and let's continue to move things forward.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Good morning, Mr. President, Mr. Vice President. My name is Brandon DeClette. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Measure. We're one of the largest operators of commercial drones for the Fortune 500 here in the United States. We're committed to job growth, hiring more pilots here in the States, hiring vets. We also want to thank you for gathering drone experts so early in your administration and bringing together a great group of people to discuss how we make the regulations more flexible, make it easier for us to fly for companies like Sprint and inspect their cell towers, and remove the dangers of potentially climbing those towers. So again, thank you for allowing us to have a voice.
Thank you.
Mr. President, Mr. Vice President, I represent SoftBank and I also represent Sprint. As you know, we have just created the world's largest venture capital fund, or $100 billion fund. Massa sends his regards. He told me to tell you that he stands 100%.
Great guy.
100% committed to the investment that we committed of $50 billion and create 50,000 jobs in the U.S. From a Sprint perspective, we're leading with a very iconic turnaround of Sprint, and we have some good ideas in terms of how the government can help us expedite the deployment of 5G and the Internet of Things. Thank you for having me here.
He, right after the election, came up to my office. He said, because you won, I am going to invest $50 billion. I said, is that all? Can't you do more? And he actually has done more, which is interesting, but he's great. Say hello to him.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. President, Vice President. My name is Jazz Banga. I'm with a company called Airspace Systems out of San Francisco. Our mission is to protect those who cannot protect themselves. We protect everything from baseball stadiums to amusement parks from rogue drones. Very much appreciate being part of this conversation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. President, Mr. Vice President, can you hear me? Yeah, I'm Peter Barris. I'm chairman of NEA, and that's not the National Endowment for the Arts. That's New Enterprise Associates. We're a large, diversified venture firm based here in Washington and in Silicon Valley, but we invest across the U.S. and in other parts of the world like China and India and Israel. I thought we were the largest until the 100 billion came along, but we've invested about our 20 billion in assets, a third in healthcare and 2/3 in the technology space. And I really appreciate having this session today. And I thought we had a very constructive discussion today about ways to affect policy to support emerging technologies.
Good. Thank you very much.
Hi, Mr. President, Mr. Vice President. I likewise thank you for putting this together. We had a very good conversation this morning about the timeliness of this particular meeting, because we're at a place where our industry has literally leapfrogged the world in terms of mobility broadband, mobile broadband, and we're leading the world, and as a result, Silicon Valley is leading the world in developing on top of this. And as we now move into a world of 5G, we're at a place where if we get this right, we probably lead the world for another era of mobile broadband deployment. And the people around this table in the telecom industry have invested more in the United States of America than any other industry since 2007. And getting this right just continues that kind of investment. In fact, this industry invested through the financial crisis, the downturn, invested right through that cycle, and we came out the back end leading the world in mobile broadband technology. So it's an exciting time, and we're very appreciative of you putting this together.
Well, I just have to say about Randall, though, the job you've done at AT&T, because it's like two companies. You started, then it was made very different by government, and now here you are again. Really a top job, and I want to congratulate you. That's not easy to do. Most companies would have just disappeared. You didn't disappear, did you?
No.
Congratulations. Thank you all very much. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So, Mr. President, we do have a couple demonstrations for you.
Oh, okay.
And I
Would you
think-
like to stay and watch, Peter? Would you like to watch a
we will.
demonstration?
So,
come on.
Randall, I think are you first? Or?
I think I'm second.
You're second? Oh, you're for George, you're first? Okay.
President, I don't know if you want me to bring the drone over or you can come over here. Yeah. So we heard this is the first drone that's been inside the White House.
It's amazing what they've done is.
So this is manufactured in the U.S. in Menlo Park. This is a 3D arm. This is a carbon fiber arm, 3D printed.
So very strong.
Yes. You can hold it actually. Yeah, so there you go. So here you see this is precision GPS incorporated directly into the drone. We have a downward visual sensor, a one-dimensional forward-facing LiDAR, 900 megahertz radio, which we're using LTE networks to directly communicate back into our cloud infrastructure. And so what we wanted to show you was a little bit more about the use of the Kespre drone for industrial work. And first and foremost, I want to introduce you to John Davenport, who's actually doing a lot of work in the construction space.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, John.
My name is John Davenport. I work at Madison Materials and Whitaker Contracting. In order to keep an accurate inventory of the material we're producing here at the quarry, we have to go out in the field and survey. Since implementing the drone, what used to take 2 weeks of data collection and a lot of asking to get over the physical effects, I can typically get the data collected on 3 quarries in 2 days. Safety is paramount. You don't just get hurt in this environment. You get dead. You're trying to climb down these hills, and it's very physically man. I can't tell you how many times over the past 10 years I've fallen and slid, and rocks move out from my feet while I'm surveying the pile. And it's a blessing to fly over the top of them. I really enjoy that. I can come out and fly in there and upload that data. I can go quickly. How big is this area? How much volume is in this area? It's just a volume. I mean, in a second, it can be 50 acres. It can be a huge area. The drone is more accurate than I am, simply because it is getting more points in a word out of this drive as efficient.
So this fully autonomous drone works on behalf of John and the team at Whitaker Construction. So John, if you want to say a little bit more to the President about how you've seen that experience been.
We have to go out in the field and survey.
25 years ago, we didn't even know what a cell phone was.
2 weeks of data collection.
And we look today and we can actually, just our life has kind of evolved around the technology. It's life-changing. This drone is life-changing. We're finding out daily, not in the quarry side of things, but in the construction side of things, and other uses. We've actually started 2 other businesses up off the same drone, just using it in a different way. So that's,
And yet, right now, drones are becoming very powerful, too. I see where they're lifting people. I don't know about the level of safety there, but I see that. But also, I guess they're going to be lifting very heavy material at some point.
Yeah, there's an initiative with other companies underway to effectively have delivery being done by a drone. This drone in particular is about just being able to collect aerial intelligence in a seamless way and being able to deliver that to the user in a way that they weren't able to accomplish before. So John's able to get that work done in literally minutes after the drone flies versus usually it would take him days of just manual labor to be able to accomplish that same work.
Fantastic job, John.
thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Yeah, pleasure.
Lando?
Yes, Mr. President, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about 5G technology in about 2 minutes, okay? Guys like Jeff Immelt and various Internet of Things, drones, autonomous cars are going to require a whole different level of speed and wireless networks. If you come over here, this is a residential neighborhood. If you want to get the kind of speeds required today, these lights are fiber. We have to take fiber to every one of these houses to get that kind of bandwidth. What 5G does, says forget about all that fiber out here. Get fiber to this small cell, which Marcelo is going to show you here. This small cell will broadcast this kind of bandwidth to all these homes, okay? You no longer need to run fiber in here. So you can have speeds that are multiples of what the fastest cable technology can deliver today into the home with wireless technology. If you move into the city, what's happening? If you want to get that bandwidth in there, the same thing. Fiber run to every one of these buildings. It takes a long time digging up roads, bridges, and sidewalks and so forth. 5G says no longer. In fact, all you need are small cells inside the city, and we can light up these buildings here as well, right? And then as you move to Wi-Fi, we have Wi-Fi deployed in these buildings all over the place, so customers moving in and out of a Wi-Fi arrangement. You can see the old big cell technology sitting on top of buildings, broadcasting throughout the city. But down on the street level, the customer is being put on whatever network gives them the fastest speeds. This could be an autonomous car, it could be any number of things. And so as the car moves, it gets moved back and forth between the networks into another 5G deployment, and you're getting these kind of multiple gigabit speeds throughout cities without all the fiber having to be deployed into all these buildings. Really accelerates it, makes us get to the market much faster.
So 5 years ago, 10 years ago, you couldn't have even imagined
Wouldn't have
this.
thought about it. No, sir, we would not have. And this is 2018, we're deploying this kind of configuration, the companies in here are, and in 2020, it becomes mobile. And so this handset would be getting these speeds.
So there has to be a tremendous construction saving too, ultimately.
It's a huge construction saving. You don't have to deploy all this fiber. You see this little cell site here. You're going from deploying these big cell sites and towers to deploying these all over cities. That's what Marcelo is going to show you, what this technology looks like now.
So, Mr. President, if I can summarize 5G, is $275 billion of investment in the next 7 years, the creation of 3 million new jobs, and a contribution of $500 billion to the GDP of the United States. What is different between 4G and 5G? 4G, those were enormous towers that look quite ugly. We're going to move to deploy millions of this, hundreds of thousands, and then millions of small cells all over the United States. The problem that we have is it takes us 1 year to get a city to give us a permit, but it takes us 1 hour to install them. And unless we can install them real fast, we're going to lose that leadership that we have today. Those huge towers, all it is now, is just a small cell. You put this on the utility poles, you put it in the cable strands, and that's all we need in order to enable. So when people ask about 5G, it is
But they're mostly local permits you need?
Basically, we run into trouble with cities, municipalities, counties. Each one has its own idea of how much they should charge, how long should it take.
How much is a federal permit? How long does that take?
Well, this mainly we go down to the cities. We're working quite well with the FCC.
Individual problems with certain cities.
There's some cities that takes 30 days, there's some cities that takes 2 years, so it's impossible to deploy. So this is why we need to fix this. And that's what 5G, when everybody talks about 5G.
Well, we can do a recommendation to the cities all over the country to get it going, and Gary, maybe they can move it faster, because this is truly a great process. But why don't we do a very strong letter of recommendation so they can get it done much faster? And we're doing that all over the country. You know what we're...
Shot clocks. The FCC at one time put in place to deploy these kind of cell sites.
Yeah.
Shot clocks. You have 180 days to get a permit done, or saying no permit. something similar is going to need to be done.
Well, we're doing that with highways. It would take sometimes 15 to 20 years to get permits to build a small road or a highway. And we are going to bring it down, trying to bring it down to 1 year, maximum 1 year. And you have the same thing. This is much easier. This is really much easier, believe me.
The U.S.